Fewer businesses fearing collapse as the economy picks up, appetite for unsecured business finance is back, and the number of insolvencies continues to tick upwards. All of this in the latest Business Finance Bulletin. As the economy continues to pick up, it's great to see and hear that many businesses are now less fearful that their business is going to contract in terms of sales and turnover or even close. Well, that's the findings from the latest quarterly business barometer survey from Hitachi Capital Business Finance. Now let's take a look at this particular issue of fearful of contraction or collapse. Let's look at the survey carried out in April 2020, which is obviously 1 month after the first lockdown had started. In that series of surveys, 31% of business owners said that over the next 3 months, they thought their business would contract. 29% of them were fearful that their business was on the point of collapse. Wind the clock forward to January 2021. Well, there, 14% of businesses said that they thought their business would contract over the next 3 months, and just 13% thought that they were in fear of collapse. Looking at it how it stands today, very different. 8% of businesses say that over the next 3 months, they think business is going to contract, and 8% are still fearful of collapse. So there's a big swing, a big turnaround compared to April 2020. Clearly, confidence is very much back on the agenda. But let's also take a look at what importers and exporters are thinking. HSBC carried out an interesting survey comparing the businesses that import and export compared to businesses that only trade domestically. Now they're looking at growth. For businesses that import and export, 60% of them are saying that they are seeing growth on the horizon, compared to 46% of businesses that only trade within the UK. So we can see a very clear message there that importers and exporters do see a lot more opportunity for growth than businesses that only trade in the UK. So overall, great to see that confidence continues to increase amongst UK small businesses. As you know, when a business is growing, one additional thing it needs is cash, additional working capital in order to provide fuel to support that growth. Now, as finance brokers, we've definitely seen an increase in the number of businesses looking for unsecured business finance to provide that additional working capital. And this has been borne out by a new survey carried out by Iwoca, the short-term business finance provider. They've spoken to UK commercial finance brokers across the UK, and their survey has found that 38% of them have said they've seen a significant increase in demand for unsecured finance during the 4 weeks of May. And that's a really good sign that businesses are starting to grow again if they're seeking out these products. Iwoca itself said that in May it received 1,250 applications for short-term finance, and of those, 55% of the applications were for less than £50,000, which shows it's the lower end of the market where the finance demand is sitting. What have businesses been using the money for? Well, the first reason was to provide additional day-to-day cash flow, and secondly, to fund growth. So all good positive signs as a signal that UK economy is getting back on track and businesses are looking to grow. Now, if you're in this position of looking for additional working capital and you want to know about the options, just drop us a line, info@businessloanservices.co.uk, and we'll help you review all the various options for you. Let's close this bulletin by our monthly look at the insolvency figures. Now, it's a bit of a doom and gloom topic, but it's important that we keep an eye on this trend. And many of you may have issued invoices and given customers 30, 60, 90 days in which to pay. You've got to make sure you keep on top of this because you don't want to end up with a bad debt. So let's look at the latest figures that have come out for June from the Insolvency Service. So the latest figures show that in the month of June, there were 1,207 businesses that entered into some sort of insolvency arrangement, and that was up 19% on the previous month of May, where the numbers were 1,014. So we're starting to see another uptick in the number of insolvencies coming through. How does that compare to June 2020? Well, it's not a very good comparison because obviously we were still in lockdown and the courts were log jammed and there's lots of money hitting businesses in terms of bounce backs and CBILS. And so the comparison is not good. But in June 2020, the number of businesses that entered into insolvency then was 741. So the increase in June is about a 63% increase on this time last year. So there's definitely an increased trend. So my message to you is make sure you keep very close to your customers, make sure you don't end up holding the can in terms of unpaid debts. Equally, if you are a business under financial distress, the best thing for you, seek out appropriate professional advice. Hunt out a licensed insolvency practitioner who can then take you through all the various options to safeguard you and your business. Well, that's it for another bulletin. As ever, I hope you enjoyed watching. And if you did, please don't forget to give it a like, a share, and of course, subscribe to this channel. So thanks very much. Look forward to being with you next time. In the meantime, have a great, successful, and profitable week.